Always great catching up with my next guest. Kind of wish it was under different circumstances. He didn't get to fight at UFC 290. We're here to get an update. It is Sean Brady, number 8th ranked welterweight in the world right now in the UFC. Sean, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm doing a lot better than I was a couple weeks ago. So everything's on the up and up. I just got home from my honeymoon, getting back to training. I was training with me and Joey Pyfer were training this morning. So everything's getting better. But yeah, man, my shit was jacked up for a little bit, but everything's cool now. So.
Yeah, obviously I'm not a doctor. That's why I'm doing this job instead of talking about medical advice. But it was some sort of a staph infection. So you were supposed to fight Della Maddalena at UFC 290. Take me through what happened and what forced you to withdraw from the fight.
So we're less than 2 weeks out at this point. It's Monday night. I come home from training, and my wife's a nurse, and my elbow was just like feeling like a little weird, and I didn't hit it on anything, so it was just sore, and I thought like I had like because I couldn't see. I'm like, hey, do I have a cut or anything on my elbow? And she's like, no, like there was like a little head of like a pimple, but nothing. I go to sleep. I wake up a couple hours later, like, and my arm, like I can see it, it's starting to swell. So, and it's excruciating pain where I know this pain because I had the same thing happen to my ankle when I had that staph infection and I had to have surgery. So I'm like, fuck, I'm going to sleep, waking up. So she was getting up early for work the next morning and I was already awake 5 a.m. in her face, showing her my arm. And she's like, all right, like something's wrong. Let's go to the hospital, get some IV antibiotics, and hopefully you'll be out of there in 12 hours or a couple hours and you'll be good to go. That didn't happen. So my arm was gradually just getting worse day by day. I was in the hospital from Tuesday till Friday. They finally got me on the right antibiotics, and it wasn't even staph. It was strep. It was some kind of strep. And luckily for me, I caught it early because the kind of strep it was, it can turn into a flesh-eating bacteria. And yeah, so like, and I literally got my arm drained a few times since I got out of the hospital, and like, it's honestly just getting better, and it still like has like a little bit of fluid in there, so it's not even fully healed yet. So it was just an unfortunate thing. It sucks because I put so much into that training camp, getting ready for Jack, and I was really looking forward to getting back after my first loss. And I had injuries before that. I was supposed to fight Pereira. I had an injury I had to pull up, but this is the way life goes, man. So I'm just kind of rolling with the punches, and I know I'll be back in there before I know it. And yeah, these things happen. You can't be too upset about it. It's just life.
Yeah, well, glad to see you're on, you're getting better. That's the main thing. I
Yeah,
mean, with stuff like that, you never really know, right? So it's a little bit difficult there. I
yeah,
know you saw the comment from Jack Della Maddalena saying Brady, quote unquote, shit the bed.
yeah,
Were you a bit surprised by that? Because it seemed like things were pretty cordial going into the fight.
yeah. And that's kind of what bothered me was I actually sent Jack a message when I was in the hospital, like, yo, like I'm sorry that this happened. I hope you get a new opponent and whatever. And then I seen that and he didn't see my message yet. So I went back. I was like, fuck that. I unsent my message. I'm like, yo, I was like, you would think he would understand because he's a fighter. And I'm sure either him or one of his teammates have had like some kind of infection where you can't control that. Like I just seen AJ McKee had some really bad shit on
Yeah.
his knee, like we can't control that. And the craziest thing is like I shower at the gym when I get home, clean all my gear. I always have new gear. And this is the second time I've had an infection, and both times it put me in the hospital. I think it has something to do with cutting, like every time it's happened to me, it's been close to a fight. So I think your immune system's already run down and whatever. But yeah, I was kind of upset that he said that. So I was just like, I didn't think he was that kind of guy. I don't know if it's like the way they talk over there, but to me, it was disrespectful, and I wouldn't wish that on him or any of his teammates. So yeah, it is what it is.
And he had a bit of a crazy ride after the fact, right? He was supposed to fight Josiah Harrell. They find something wrong with his brain. He's out of the
Yeah,
fight. Then they
yeah,
rebooked Jack against Bassil Hafez.
yeah.
What did you think of that fight? Because some people felt like Bassil did enough to win. Did you end up watching? I'm assuming you did.
Yeah, so I watched, and it was a close fight, and it's hard for Jack, especially like you have me, and then you have another opponent, and then you have another opponent. You have this whole whirlwind of things. So like, I'm not gonna shit on him like the way he tried to shit on me. It was a tough situation to be in. He got the win, but Basil made it tough for him, and I think if they would have said Basil's name, I wouldn't have been surprised. I know why people say Jack won and why he probably did win was off of damage, but Basil was catching him too. Basil did a good amount of damage, had a lot of control time. So either way they said it, I was fine with it. But yeah, good on Basil for doing what he did and kind of showed some things I already knew going into the fight. Like I've seen Jack get taken down and kind of get controlled, and like I don't think a lot of fans have ever seen that in the UFC because obviously he's gone out there and knocked out a lot of guys. But Basil kind of laid the blueprint for what I was going to be implementing my game plan. So yeah, good on him. He looked great, especially for 5 days notice.
So you knew a bit about Bassil sort of going into the fight. There's people who are saying, fans they're very reactionary. Jack got exposed in that fight. What do you make of those comments? Because I think, there's got to be some understanding that he had all the opponents switch up. I think Bassil's a lot better than people knew about. Yeah. I've known Bassil forever, so we've done interviews for a while, so I kind of knew that it wasn't going to be this squash match that they were making it out to be. Where do you stand on where Jack is? Like you said, you saw some things, but do you think he was exposed? What's sort of your comments on that?
I don't think he was exposed because I already knew, like, anyone can get taken down, and it's not that he got exposed. He had a tough fight. He's going in there and knocked out or TKO'd most of the guys he's fought, and he went in there and fought. I do think that he finally fought someone who's actually a good grappler and got to show like that side of his game isn't as good as his striking. So yeah, he didn't get exposed, but I just don't. I think up until that point he fought a very good stylistic matchups, and he finally ran into somebody that was going to give him some trouble, So it was a good fight. It was a great fight. They both got 50 grand, so good on them. But yeah, I think Bassil definitely showed some things that a lot of fans didn't know would happen if you fought Jack, and if you fought him the right way.
And if I'm not mistaken, Bassil, he's a Philly guy. Did you guys ever train together? Did you know much about him?
I know Bassil. He's fought for CFFC. He trained at one of the gyms in Philly. So I know, like, when they announced that fight, I'm like, people are going to be surprised, So I think good on him for Bassil to go in there get a split decision loss to a top 15 guy on 5 days notice. Like, does nothing but raise his stock, especially when a lot of people thought he won.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. So again, I know you're still recovering from the shoulder or from the elbow thing, like you were kind of mentioning there. Do you hope to fight this year? Like, is that even optimistic, or do you? What sign of the timeline?
Yeah. I'm trying to I want to be back soon. I know they're coming to New York in November. I was hoping to fight before then, but from what I'm hearing, I think that's kind of when they want me to fight. So that'd be cool, I got some things in the works for some grappling, some super fights. So yeah, I'm trying to. It sucks. Like, I just had a bad between the fight with Bilal and then trying to come back. I tore my groin, and then I re-tore my groin, and then I had to pull out of this fight. It's just a lot of things have happened, but I feel like I'm still just getting started. I got a lot to prove, and I'm excited to get back in there. And there's a lot of fights getting ready to happen within the next couple of weeks that can potentially show me who my next opponent will be. Like, we got Holland and Chiesa fighting this weekend. Yeah. We got Wonder Boy and Pereira fighting this weekend. We have Vicente and RDA fighting in 2 weeks. So there's a lot of potential opponents out there. So yeah, it's nothing but good things. And our division's moving pretty good.
Yeah, it is. Any party you want that Jack fight rebooked? I think some people do want to see the fight after, because I think there were some people going into that fight, and I'm sure you saw it, saying, Jack's going to beat Brady, no problem, all this stuff. But now I think that talk is kind of tapered down a little bit after his last fight.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because that's the way the fans work, They've seen Jack like he was invincible, and then he kind of has a tough fight, and then they start shitting on him. I'm like, damn, these motherfuckers don't know who to shit on, but he's fighting in Australia, and I ain't going nowhere near Australia.
Yes. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah,
I'm not going outside the country unless there's a lot of money or a big fight involved. So, and that's in 6 weeks. Like, I just got home from my honeymoon. I'm just getting back in training. He can fight whoever. And to be honest, like, I'm ahead of him in the rankings. Like, when I beat Chiesa was number 6. Like, I never got that ranking, So, like, I'm ahead of him in the rankings. After that fight, like, I'm not going chasing him. Like, I'm damn sure not going down to Australia. So, if me and him, if he fights in September and they want to fight him again in November or whenever they want me to fight, whatever. You
Yeah.
know, it is what it is. Like, I knew going into that fight what everyone else got to see. Like, I knew there was many paths for victory for me. You know, I'm not an idiot. Like, I'm not taking fights just that I don't think I can win. But yeah, so there's a lot of people. There's a lot of guys, a lot of exciting names that are fighting, like I said, in a couple of weeks. So who knows where we'll land. But I think he's definitely fighting in Australia. So who knows what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
So
kind of forgot about that, actually, just because of all the fight news. I kind of forgot that he's probably going to fight on that card. Even that's kind of a quick turnaround for him.
That's in 6 weeks. And I know for a fact they want to put him on that. So.
Well, maybe down the line, though. I mean, we'll see if the wins, line up. Yeah.
Listen, I don't shit on these guys because I know what fighters go through. I'm a fighter, and he had a tough fight. Like, everyone's going to have tough fights. You're going to lose a fight eventually. He's lost before, and he had a close one a couple weekends ago. He could have potentially lost. So he'll bounce back, and I'm sure I'll see him one day down the road for sure.
There you go. We got a big card this weekend, UFC 291. First, this BMF title. What are your thoughts on that? Do you like it? Do you think it's kind of silly? What's sort of your thoughts on the title itself?
I like it. Like fuck it. Like who cares? You know. And it's to the baddest motherfuckers. I think, especially if you're talking about divisions, they're the two baddest guys. Like, and they already fought, so they already have history. They had a really good fight the first time. Dustin came out on top. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Dustin in this one, but I really like Justin, and I hope Justin gets it done so it's 1-1, and then they can have a third fight, you know. But they're so evenly matched, and I think Gaethje has made a lot of improvements. So it's going to be a fun fight between that and the boxing fights this weekend.
Yeah.
It's a good weekend for combat sports.
I agree. Co-main event. What do you think of Yan and Pereira? Who do you see having the edge in that one, with Pereira moving up to 205?
I mean, if you look at it the way I'm looking at it, like, I think Yan should win this fight if he goes out there and he fights smart, like how he fought Izzy. You would think that's what he would do, and Yan also has big power as well. So, but Pereira has also shown he has big power, and I'm sure it's going to carry to 205. So Yan could definitely get knocked out, but I'm leaning Yan in that one.
What about a guy you fought? Michael Chiesa is fighting Kevin Holland. Do you see Chiesa coming out? He has a bit of, actually, he hasn't fought since you guys fought. So he'll be fighting.
That's a very interesting fight. And I've been listening to Chiesa's interviews all week, and he sounds like he's in a really good place. He sounds like he's healthy, and I could see him get it done. But I could also see Kevin Holland getting a knockout win. So I'm leaning Chiesa on that one a little bit more, but Holland could definitely get it done as well. It's an interesting fight.
Where'd you end up going on your honeymoon?
Aruba.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we planned it. Obviously, I had my wedding in May, and that Monday I literally started training camp for this fight, and we planned it. We're like, all right, we'll go on the honeymoon after I fight. So yeah, it didn't work out. I was hoping to be coming off a win, go to Aruba. We still had a great time. We did a bunch of shit, and we got back on Tuesday. So I think we went from Friday to Tuesday, and it was a perfect amount of time. Like, I can't just sit around for too long. So we did a lot of activities, but we're home now. I'm back in my routine. Like I said, I got some grappling coming up, so I'm getting back, just training and getting back to my routine, and hopefully we'll have something with a fight within the next month or so. So we'll see.
Did you actually enjoy, like, with your elbow and stuff? Were you able to still, like, go to the beach or drink? Because I know you have antibiotics and stuff, right?
All the fluid is finally, like, out of here. It's still just, like, a little bit tender, but yeah, like, we did paddle boarding, like, we were riding, like, UTVs. Like, I grew up riding dirt bikes and quads, so, like, we were in, like, the desert with the UTVs. We would jet ski. We did a lot of shit. So a lot of activities. It was good.
Someone you were supposed to fight just retired recently, Kevin Lee. What did you think of that? And I kind of felt like he got fed to the wolves coming back and fighting Renat.
Yeah, that dude's good. And for them to put him, you almost, like, obviously we're fighters and we think we can beat anybody, but you would have thought he would have chose maybe a little bit of a different fight. But I seen his interview and he's saying he had a bunch of injuries, and, like, I know he's always had knee problems and shit like that. It just comes to a point where if you can't train or fight the way, like, you used to, or, like, the way you should be, then I think he did the right thing, you know? Yeah. So God bless him. I hope everything goes well with him.
Last week at UFC London, they panned to the crowd. They looked at Michael Venom Page, who's from Bellator, and they had the key up. I think that's kind of a sign that he's coming to the UFC. What do you think of him as an addition to the weight class, your weight class?
I don't know what's going on. I'm hearing all the Bellator guys are coming over. Seen it on Twitter. Like, it seemed like they were all on the UFC's website, but the UFC's website is notorious for messing shit up. But yeah, if he comes over, it'd be awesome. Like, I've been watching him for years. I've watched him versus Logan Storley. I've watched him versus Douglas Lima. I've watched him a lot. So, yeah, if they want to bring him on over, come on over.
So I need you to confirm this at the end of this interview. I asked Jeremiah Wells, and he says that Joe Pyfer is the best Call of Duty player on the team. Can you confirm this? I don't know if you play any games or not.
Joe Pyfer is definitely the best Call of Duty player. I played with him a couple times, and my boy takes that super serious. So I'll go on record saying Joey is definitely the best one for sure.
And Petrosky, he won't play any video games. He says he doesn't have time. He says it's a waste of time. He's got too much to do. Is he being a little stuck up? What do you think?
Definitely being a little stuck up, but I get it. Like when I was hurt, when I tore my groin, I've reactivated my thing. I literally played with Joey like less than a handful of times, and I've been paying for my Xbox Live ever since and haven't turned it on. So I probably should cancel it, because if I'm healthy, I'm out and about. Like, I'm training, I'm riding bikes, I'm doing something, and I literally haven't turned it on since then. But Joey loves it. Like, if he's home and he's not training and he's resting, he's on it. And listen, if that's what you like to do to kill time or while you're resting, like, I'm all for it. Who gives a shit? Do whatever you want to do.
And I was just kidding about Petrosky. I know he has a daughter, so he's got other stuff he's got to do. So I was just kind of poking fun. I don't want him coming over and beating me up here.
Oh, no. Andre, Joey will take care of him.
Yeah, there you go. It's all good. Hey, Sean, thanks so much for doing this. Glad to hear you're on the men and getting better. Looking forward to that next fight. In the meantime, let people know where they can get a hold of you on social media, any sponsors, and that grappling match. I don't know how much you're allowed to reveal, but anything you want to mention there, the floor is yours.
Yeah, follow me, Sean Brady MMA. Follow my podcast. It's with Joey Pyfer.
That's right. I actually watch it. You guys do a really good job actually on YouTube.
Yeah, we just recorded an episode today and then trained afterwards. It's Steady Picks is they're a betting, like, they give out picks, and that's who produces our show. So it's on their YouTube. We just recorded it. We try to do a podcast every week, so it's fun. Me and Joey get together. He's a character, and my buddy Kurt. We do that, and then the grappling. Hopefully, it's something coming out soon, and it'll be close to one of the UFC cards. So it's going to be a pretty big deal. So it'll be cool. So more to come on that soon. But yeah, thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate it.